Back in elementary school, when I had first watched Ratatouille, I had become enchanted with cooking, so far as to wanting to be a chef at that time. I mean, really, come on. Cooking was almost magical, alchemical, with the way you could turn simple raw ingredients into such delicacies, and after cooking you could even enjoy eating it, so what was not there to like? Well, what I didn't like was that cooking, which was akin to science and art in the movie, was just a chore expected of me, not because it was a life skill, not because everyone requires food, but because somehow there was an unequal distribution of household chores between the genders, and mine just happened to be the one which was designated to carry the brunt. This was a fact that I became aware of as I began to grow up, a pattern that was so consistent that it seemed inescapable, and so I began to despise it, and I began to despise cooking. I would see it with my eyes when I would go to visit a family friend, and my mother would go into the kitchen to help while the men would idly chatter and relax. I could see it in the way my relatives would ask my older sister to help them out with preparations instead of their own fully grown sons, even if she was still a kid. I would notice it when my mother would always insist on our father eating first, but my father would never get adamant about her eating with him. I could observe it when I would see on TV that the wife would always be shown to take care of the husband as a good wife should do, but all that was really visible was her life reduced to a mother, nurse, and maid. My mother never had leaves. She wasn't even free when we were on holidays, and if anything went bad when we were in my hometown, my dad's side of the family would always conveniently blame the women when they were the only ones doing any work at all, with no gratitude towards it but a flood of criticism. I never saw my grandfather be vocal when he liked the food that was made, but you could bet you will find him yelling if he didn't enjoy it as much. I saw how whenever my cousin brother would cook for everyone, it would seem as a great act, even if even if he was literally a chef. But their mother cooking every day for them was just something she was supposed to do, because it was never really about cooking, since if it were so, then you would see a lot more professional female chefs in the industry. But that is not the case, because cooking was an art and a science in the kitchens of sought after restaurants, but in the household it was never that. Hell, it was never just a means for sustenance either. Rather, it was an unfair distribution of labor, an active division of roles and formation of societal standards, a way of subjugation and restriction, a show of making you know your place, the place they decided for you, inside the house all the time, and looking after the husband like he's a child, till you are pressured to have actual ones just to add to the load. To be stuck in a never ending cycle, but you're not allowed to be worn down. And if your husband doesn't beat you, he's a good man, and you should be grateful to be stuck with him instead of someone worse, because this is as tolerable as it gets. Because a good man is deemed as one who restrains himself from harming women, but a good woman is deemed as one who submits. Because a bad man is an almost monster, but a bad woman is just the average man. So I withdrew from cooking. I hated it with a passion, and to me it was almost an act of rebellion so that I could remain my own person. But it came at a cost, because when I denied to follow the expected roles and forced duties, it didn't result in a man taking up his share of rightful responsibility, but rather more weight falling on the already repressed women. Why is it so? Why is it that my empowerment should cost the blood, sweat, and tears of someone else? Why is it that my freedom means that the same freedom will be taken away from another soul?